Hola y bienvenidos y bienvenidas a un nuevo vídeo del canal. Estamos aquí de vuelta en Liyue con Genshin Impact. Y en el vídeo de hoy nos toca conseguir completar una de las misiones legendarias que más interés han suscitado para mí, que no es otra que, en este caso, Umbrabilis Orchis. La misión legendaria de Yelan, debido a su avanzada edad, el Eje Celestial, una de las 7 estrellas de Liyue, se halla en un estado de salud delicado y urge elegir a un sucesor. Aquí vamos a coger y desbloquear la misión, así que vamos a usar la llave legendaria y acto seguido recogemos de recompensa la otra llave para tenerlo esto listo. Así que aquí está, venimos y lo que digo, aquí como podéis ver en el estado, no, mientras los tres candidatos hacen uno por uno su puesta en escena, tras un examen aparentemente tranquilo, parece haber presente una fuerza invisible capaz de agitar las aguas. En una partida de ajedrez incluso un gran maestro puede equivocarse. A pesar de ser pocos los que merecen el primer puesto, son muchos los que sin saberlo forman parte de la partida. Nada más que decir, vamos con esta nueva misión legendaria de un personaje que creo que ha suscitado un gran interés. Vale. Estamos en el punto entonces, ¿no? ¿Cuánto tiempo?
Thanks to the help of people like you and colleagues like Ganyu, better all the time. But I've been feeling distracted at work lately. I just feel constantly agitated.
¿Ocurrió algo?
It's a long story. But my father, he's thinking of stepping down from the Tianshu position due to health issues.
Huh? What's wrong with Uncle Tian?
Nothing specifically. He's not unwell. He says he's just increasingly low on energy these days. He's always said, old age comes for us all in the end. Still, I just can't help but feel a little emotional watching it happen to him. Anyway, my father's currently on the second floor of Yansheng Tea House. Why don't you come pay him a visit with me? He seems very fond of you too. I'm sure chatting with you will make him very happy.
Sure, let's go.
Pues vamos a verlo, Paimon. Vale, una apuesta calculada, Umbrabilis Orchis, acto 1. Pues ya lo habéis visto, estamos justo en el punto en el que iniciaba la misión, así que ha sido toda una sorpresa y hay que dirigirnos al segundo piso del salón de Teiyansang para empezar con esta aventura. Que lo que digo, tenemos varias maneras de llegar ahí, pero obviamente si sois XIAO players como yo, ya sabéis, queda más guay, ¿no? El subir trepando. Vamos a hablar con él. Por cierto, no sé si la habéis visto antes de esto, pero me he sacado la C2 de XIAO. ¡Hey, tío Tian! ¿Cómo va? Me encanta este pavo. Hacía tiempo que no lo veíamos.
I heard that you've been traveling all over the place recently. I would very much like to hear your adventure stories.
Nos preocupa tu salud, tío Tian.
Hoishin told you, didn't she?
Claro que nos ha contado.
Don't worry. I'm quite all right. It's just the years gradually catching up with me. As I grow older, I'm starting to find that with many things, though the mind is willing, the flesh is weak. Especially recently, I've noticed a rather drastic drop in my energy levels. I am still very much in good standing as the Tianshu today. Nevertheless, I wish to pass on the position before my mental acuity begins to decline beyond redemption.
How difficult is it to transfer the Tianshu position?
Oh, well, you see, the Tianshu is a rather unique position among the Liyue Qixing. Historically speaking, the Tianshu rarely appears in public. We stay behind the scenes, planning and giving advice, so a public selection process would not be suitable. We also want to keep any prospective Tianshu candidates free from influence by outside forces, so we tend to be as discreet as possible in their assessment and appointment. For these reasons, the incumbent Tianshu typically recommends their candidate of choice, and this is then approved by the other Qixing members.
So in other words, you pick someone.
Vale, pues parece que esta misión va a ir de la elección, ¿no?, del próximo Eje Celestial.
Correct. Unfortunately, due to my health, I won't be able to assess every candidate myself.
Bueno, pues nosotros nos encargamos, no te preocupes.
Because I found someone exceptionally capable to act on my behalf.
Ah, la evaluadora. Yo pensaba que Yelan iba a ser la sustituta.
In fact, I believe you recently became acquainted with her yourself.
Oh? Who is it?
I'm heartbroken. I thought it might take you a little longer than this to forget.
Pues ya está aquí Yelan.
Jackpot. Uncle Tian here.
Me encanta el personaje, tengo que decirlo. Lástima de que lo que digo, está también XIAO en el banner y he ido a por la C2 de XIAO.
Might be a good opportunity for you.
What do you think?
Suena bien.
Paimon thinks so too. It can't be a bad thing to be on good terms with a new Qixing, right?
All right then. Though, I gotta say, Uncle Tian, you say you're into behind-the-scenes planning? My work's of the covert variety, too. Don't you think I might make a good Tianshu?
Huh? Yelan, you want to be the next Tianshu?
I'm not opposed to the idea, but I suspect Ningguang wouldn't let you go very easily after how long you've been working together. So, how about this? If your investigation reveals that none of the other candidates are qualified for the position, I'll recommend you for the job.
Deal. Well, you guys take your time. Everything's all set for the assessments to go ahead. Meet me on the first floor when you're ready. Until then, have a pleasant conversation. Oh, and no need to pay for your tea. As the new owner of this fine establishment, this runs on the house. You're all set?
Uncle Tian seems really worn down. It's like all his energy's gone.
Yeah, it may sound harsh, but Uncle Tian is past his prime. He's not cut out for this anymore. So he's recommended 3 candidates. Their names are Qinwei, Mingbo, and Zhi. Qinwei is a wealthy entrepreneur. Mingbo works at the Liyue Ministry of Civil Affairs, and Zhi is focused on study and
Vale,
travel.
entonces, Qinwei es un
Try to keep all
comerciante.
that in mind.
La otra un mercader y...
Of
A ver.
course, it
Vale, hay que
doesn't really
evaluarlos. Bueno.
Tianwei, Mingbo,
Y Zhi.
Zhi. Paimon should be able to remember their names, but what does the assessment involve exactly?
Me pregunto lo mismo que tú,
Let's
Paimon.
leave that until we get to Yuehai Pavilion. All right. Heads in the game, people. The stakes don't get much higher than a change in the Qixing. We can't afford to miss anything, no matter...
Got it. We'll keep our eyes wide open.
Vale, pues parece que va a ser una misión que de base tiene importancia para lo que es la trama también de Liyue, ya que las 7 estrellas, como ya sabéis, son prácticamente los seres más importantes a mi forma de ver, ¿no? Junto al tema de los Jacks de XIAO y a los protectores de Liyue, ya sabéis. Los fuimos conociendo todos en la trama y es que es lo que digo, realmente es la magia que para mí tiene este Genshin, ¿no? Con el hecho de que el lore es muy profundo, tenemos grandes aventuras por vivir y es algo que al final, pues a mí por lo menos, siempre me flipa bastante. Yo creo que por aquí puedo, a ver, vamos con XIAO Masterclass. Vale. A ver qué pasa ahora. Vale, parece que están ahí, ¿no?
What is wrong with this assessment officer? This is a huge occasion and I don't even get a chair. I've dealt with all kinds of people in my time, but never have I been made to stand while I'm waiting for an appointment.
Oh, I mean, I think it's fine.
That's called being complacent. If you're happy to just accept the way things are...
Oh, come on. That's just... Now you're just being unreasonable.
All right, you two. Let's not get into a big
Bueno,
argument
aquí
over
vemos a
this.
los 3
It's
candidatos,
not
¿no?
worth it. Qianwei, that was a bit uncalled for. And Mingbo, cut him some slack. We've all been standing around for a while. It's natural to be getting irritable. Look, how about this? There's no rule saying we're obliged to stand up while we wait, so why don't we borrow some chairs from the guild nearby?
Fine. They're not the best quality chairs, to be sure. But under the circumstances, it would be better than nothing.
It looks like all 3 candidates have arrived.
¿Eran esos 3?
Mm-hmm. We'll meet them formally soon. Before that, let me run you through the assessment process. I've split it into 2 stages.
Estrategias para el tema de
Current
actualidad y
affairs and
entrevista
planning.
personal.
In the first stage, candidates are required to submit a manifesto for Liyue's development. In the second stage,
Vale, tendrá
we
2
will ask
fases,
them
una
some
propuesta de un
questions
plan de
in
desarrollo
person.
y contestar
Writing a
preguntas en persona en
manifesto
una
takes
entrevista.
time, so I informed them of this requirement in advance. These are the reports they submitted.
Wow. One of them is really thick.
It's also worth mentioning a stipulation I gave them. Whoever is appointed as the new Tianshu will be expected to implement their plan as put forward in their manifesto. Failing the occurrence of some cataclysmic event, they will not be permitted to change their plan. There's still some time. Have a skim through, get a first impression of what each person's proposing.
Vale.
I'll be waiting off to the side. Just let me know when you're done.
Pues vamos a ver de qué va esto. Plan de Fiji. La propuesta de Fiji trata de forma pormenorizada de todo tipo de aspectos como los asuntos internos. Parece que para Fiji lo esencial es resolver problemas, por lo que ofrece soluciones claras y concisas a numerosos dilemas. Como tiene muchas páginas, solo puedes darle una ojeada. Vale, propuesta de Qianwei. Índole comercial, claro, eres comerciante. Vale, obviamente Qianwei se ha centrado solo en lo del comerciante, ¿no? Asuntos internos y bienestar social.
Finished, huh? What did you think?
Everyone took it very seriously.
Of course they did. They have the chance to be picked as the new Tianshu, so you can bet they're putting their best foot forward. And keep in mind, whoever gets in has to execute their plan as written. Nobody wants to have any regrets. That's for me to know and you to find out. We'll see the candidates now. Let's do one at a time.
Vale, Qianwei es el
Yes,
primero.
ma'am.
Lian pide a Qianwei que pase. Vamos a ver de qué va todo esto.
So you two are the assessment officers, are you? I had assumed that given the great import of this situation, Lady Ningguang would perhaps be assessing us in person.
Qianwei,
I
tío.
certainly hadn't imagined I'd be
Así
seeing
no.
2 entirely unfamiliar faces. I trust you've read through my manifesto? I'd be more than happy to clarify any details you found difficult to grasp.
Mind your tone, mister.
Relax. It wasn't intended as a personal slight against anyone in particular. I was simply stating a fact.
¿Aprendiste tus habilidades de comunicación con preservadora de nubes?
Cloud Retainer? You know this Adeptus? Oh, yes, I remember now. You must be the traveler that people are constantly talking about. With your sterling reputation, you must have a respectable level of erudition. Perhaps you will be able to understand the concepts I have
Tonto
put
que es, ¿no?
forward.
Vale, vamos a Mingo.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yes. Please introduce yourself.
I'm, Mingbo. I work in the Ministry of Civil Affairs. I've worked there for, 9 years, 5 months, and 3 days. I have 12 active cases at the moment. They should be concluded in, 16 days? My current work is related to urban planning, and I'm also responsible
Vaya.
for, auditing the accounts.
A ver, el
To
tío
be more
parece un crack.
precise, there are 3 parts to the accounts, namely...
Is it just Paimon, or is he not very good at public speaking?
You know what? Let's leave the self-introduction there and move on to some questions.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Vale, aquí está el último.
Hello.
Fiji.
Not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little nervous. What would you like to know? You're here to assess me, so ask away and I'll answer your questions to the...
Your manifesto is very wide in its
Vale.
scope, but you don't seem to be personally involved in many of the specific fields.
Qué golpe más duro.
Be sure that you have the ability
Directo
to
al
put
grano,
your plan
Yelan.
intact.
Very fair question. I completely understand where you're coming from. But I'm confident in my plan. I've visited many different places, talked to lots of people with far more expertise than myself, and my manifesto is the conclusion of these efforts. Of course, two different problems can be interconnected in very complicated ways, and you might reach two very contradictory conclusions depending on which one you're focusing on. What I've tried to do is strike a balance. In other words, present an optimal solution to all the problems as a whole.
How do you plan to determine whether you are right or wrong about your proposed solution being the optimal one?
A great question. Well, I'd start by having my colleagues and the secretaries of the Yuehai Pavilion evaluate any proposals before implementation. Post-implementation, it would all come down to the results. If it turned out that my judgment was to blame for poor results, I would take responsibility.
Nice answer. All right, next question.
He seems like a great guy. Everything he said was
Estoy de acuerdo.
thoughtful and logical.
Here's my take on what we... As you saw, Qianwei is highly knowledgeable. He proposes many excellent ideas in his manifesto, which effectively target... But he is very proud and incredibly stubborn. He doesn't care much about other people's feelings. Mingbo's plan is more thorough and more measured. You can tell he's meticulous in his work,
Vale.
very detail-oriented. But he and Qianwei are otherwise polar opposites. Mingbo is not very articulate and comes across as very timid in conversation.
Perfect summary. Paimon couldn't agree more. You're good at this, Yelan.
Last but not least, Zhi. His manifesto is full of pertinent details, his methodology is sound, and his proposals cover a broad range of fields. The depth he goes into in each and every area means it can only be a product of painstaking work. Plus, he is modest and good at dealing with people.
Eso es importante.
But what really interests me is that many of his views happen to coincide with Uncle Tien's. Having someone like Zhi take the position would certainly put Uncle Tien's mind at rest.
Great.
We'll see. Let's go back and report to Uncle Tien.
Ok, pues parece que ahora hay que continuar con la misión, así que vamos al lío. Tengo que destacar una cosa que me está gustando mucho, y es el hecho de que hacía tiempo que, por ejemplo, del tío Tian no sabíamos nada, y aquí de repente pues vuelve un poco, ¿no? Como esa especie de historia, ese trasfondo que tanto nos flipa, y eso a mí por lo menos me mola. ¡Ojo! Un cofre que no había cogido aquí. ¿What? Sorpresa de la vida. Este lo habrán puesto, ¿no? Porque, no sé, me he quedado un poco loco, pero bueno. ¡Vamos allá! ¡Hola, tío Tian! Estamos aquí. ¡Ja! Le contamos todo al tío Tian, le contamos acerca del proceso y demás, y vemos un poco de qué va
I
esto.
see. Then it's more or less as I anticipated.
All right. Then let me ask this. The ideas in Zhi's manifesto are very similar to your own. Is there any particular reason behind this?
Oh, I didn't want to say anything when I gave you the list of candidates, for fear of affecting your judgment. But I can tell you now. Those 3 candidates have all studied under me in the past. It's only natural that they share some similarities with me. But Qianwei went on to focus on his business, and Mingbo has always been occupied with his work at the Ministry of Civil Affairs. Of all of them, Zhi was with me for the longest duration.
Whoa. So how did you get to know them all, Uncle Tien?
Qianwei was referred to me by an old friend. Mingbo came to my attention in the course of my work. As for Zhi, I was pure happenstance. We first met while fishing. Gradually, as we got to know each
Vaya.
other, we started discussing all sorts of topics. Zhi came from a poor family, and his parents died when he was very young.
A ver, lo que veo es que
He
cada
was
uno de ellos
it
tiene cosas buenas,
reminded
¿no?
me of a younger version of myself. So I started out giving him a few words of advice when we were out fishing and noticed how quickly he got on.
Parece que lo consideras como un amigo.
Quite. And now, all of a sudden, he's grown into a mature young man. The young are growing up, and I am growing old.
Nadie puede escapar del ciclo de vida. Cierto es.
I don't know, Uncle Tian. You still seem in pretty good shape to me. You might have another few years of work left in you, don't?
Oh, you. There's really no need to console me. Having less energy than I used
se lo
to
está
is
tomando
not
bien, eso es lo
such a
importante.
bad thing.
Sounds like you sure love fishing.
Ooh, there's nothing quite like fishing to pass the time. Ooh, and freshly caught fish, they make the most beautiful fish soup with barely any preparation required.
Fresh fish.
Ya está Paimon
soup.
pensando en la comida.
Doesn't it? Also, some time ago, Jury purchased a very special recipe from an old fisherman. When we've been fishing recently, Jury always brings some extra ingredients he prepared in advance. That flavor makes for a fond memory.
Seguro que podrás tomarla muchas veces más, anciano.
Oh, can Paimon come next time too? Paimon.
Let's
Vale,
get
Paimon
back
ya
to the
quiere.
matter at hand. Uncle Tian,
Bueno, vamos a ver
we've
si el tío
reported
Tan ha
back.
llegado a alguna
Do
conclusión.
you have a verdict?
Mm-hmm. I appointed you as the assessment officer. Had you not asked me why Jury's ideas were so similar to mine, I was not going to mention my history with any of them. This decision must be guided by what is fair and right. Please disregard all other considerations. Remember, you must be thorough.
Understood. Come on,
Vale.
let's go talk somewhere else.
Bye bye, Uncle Tian.
Bueno, pues nada, nosotros nos vamos. Y vamos a irnos del salón del té con Yelan a ver qué pasa.
Right? His manifesto was written well.
Easy. Let's not rush.
Huh? So, are you gonna give him more tests or something?
No, nothing like that. The assessment itself is complete. But let me give you a word of advice. Things?
Las apariencias engañan.
The biggest no-no in intelligence work is to only get information from the person of interest themselves. The truth is almost always hidden beneath them. For example, Wenyuan, Shanghua.
Yes?
¿Eh? ¿Quién son estos dos?
Lady
Son
Yelan,
ninjas ocultas
what
de
are
la
your
Villa de la
orders?
Hoja.
Ugh! Who are they? Where
Son
did they
ninjas.
come from?
Paimon, ninjas.
Did they scare you?
Ninjas.
These two are
En vez de ninjas,
Wenyuan and
ninjas.
Shanghua. They work for me.
Vale, o sea,
As my
son
trusted
los
assistants,
secuaces, ¿no? De
they're
Yelan.
always
Vaya.
standing guard nearby. They also perform
Vamos, que
various
Yelan aquí es una
assignments as
espía,
required.
agente secreta laica
Shanghua
voz.
is a business expert who gets his information by trading. Wenyuan.
That meathead must have been out there on sea surveillance for some time now. Is he all right? I seem to remember that he can't swim.
Nothing can take that guy down. Certainly not a little wind and waves.
Shanghua, visit all the commerce guilds and look into Qianwei's background. Wenyuan, go to the Ministry of Civil Affairs and look through Mingbo's work files.
Yes, ma'am.
So what about Jury?
Zhi, well, obviously as the most promising candidate, we will be investigating him ourselves. Let's go to the docks first. Lots of people passing through there. You can find out all kinds of things.
If we're looking for information, why don't we try talking to Bulai, the owner of Wanyu Boutique? He does business at the North Wharf. Maybe he has some news for us.
That's actually not a bad idea. Let's go and ask him.
Vale. Hay que buscar a Bolai, así que tenemos que ir para el muelle de Liyue. Vamos a ver un poquito qué más pasa. Me ha dejado loquísimo lo de los ninjas, ahora en serio, ha estado muy divertido. Porque no me lo esperaba que Yelan tuviera ahí sus secuaces y todo eso, estaba bastante guay. Vale, vamos a ir por aquí, esto es fácil, así que...
What's Bulai doing here today?
¡Hey, Bolai! ¿Qué
Look,
pasa?
Your asking price for this batch is just too high. I can't buy in at this price. How am I
Como siempre,
supposed to
hablando de
turn a
comercio.
profit?
Come on, hear me out.
Come on, baby.
I'm telling you, this is the single best batch of Sunsettias ever. You won't find anyone who disputes that. I accidentally dropped one into a well, and even the water turned sweet.
Even so...
All right. I'll let you in on a little secret. The boss of Second Life also wants to buy from me, but I haven't responded yet. If you won't take him, I'll just have to partner with them instead. And neither of us wants that.
Okay, well, when you put it that way, I'll accept your asking price. I'll take all your stock. Don't sell a single one to Second Life. Oh, what are you doing here? And to be clear, these Sunsettias are mine. I got to them first. Don't get any ideas.
No las queremos.
Actually, we want to ask you about a guy called Juri. Have you heard of him before?
Juri? Yes, he's quite well known. I've heard a story about him. They say he was born into poverty. His parents died when he was young, and he was treated cruelly by the local community. One of his neighbors was terribly rude to him all the time, but Juri never retaliated. And when his neighbor went bankrupt, he even helped support the family. He returned cruelty with kindness, injustice with peace offerings. A gentleman of talent and character, and... how did I not notice him sooner? In fact, maybe I'm not too late. If I could hire him to be the brand ambassador for Wanyo Boutique.
Oh, he sounds like a decent man.
Why are you asking about him anyway? You aren't looking for a brand ambassador too? Well then, in that case, the higher bidder takes the... that's Juri right over there. Why don't we go and talk to him?
Where?
It's him, all right. Looks like he's chatting with Linlong. Come on, let's follow them and try not to let him see you. We want this information to be as truthful as possible.
I'll just go and fetch an employment contract. And hey, don't try and cut me out of this.
Vale, Volai. Pues nada, parece que se nos ha puesto a huevo lo siguiente, así que tenemos que vigilar aquí a nuestro amigo. Vamos a quedarnos detrás de las cajas.
So, you were looking to buy a wineware set? Oh, now I can see that you're a connoisseur, so I won't bother trying to con you. I trust you understand our shop quite well?
The truth is, an old friend of mine, who likes to have a drink now and then, he fancies himself as a man of culture, but doesn't care for needless extravagance. So I thought I might buy him a set of high-quality fakes.
How very thoughtful of you. Leave it to me, then. Come and collect it at Shigu Antiques whenever is convenient.
A ver, vamos por aquí.
Thank you very much, Miss Linlong.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Juri. These days, it's quite rare for someone of your standing to still keep up with their old friends. It's nice to see. I'll be sure to pick out a good set for you. You can count on me.
Vale, a ver, me parece todo correcto. O sea, no sé, lo veo bien.
Juri seems to get along really well with everyone. Are you satisfied now, Yelan? Seems like everyone thinks Juri's a great guy.
We shouldn't jump to conclusions just yet. Let's go check out the wharf where he usually goes fishing.
Do we have to? Wait, you're not just trying to dig up some dirt on Juri because you want to be tangent.
Paimon y sus conclusiones apresuradas, como siempre.
Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. You'll be able to try all the finest food for free.
Ya la convenció,
How does
así
that
se vende
sound?
Paimon, os lo digo yo.
We will? Well, come on!
Vale. Paimon se ha vendido por un poco de comida, como siempre. No me sorprende ya, así es que estoy acostumbrado. Bueno, vamos a venir y vamos a ver un poquito, ¿no?, qué encontramos por aquí. Hemos tenido este momentito ahí en modo sigilo, que siempre está bastante divertido en las misiones. Pero vamos a aprovechar para ir un poquito más allá, ¿no? De ver qué está pasando, qué puede estar pasando por aquí. Y a ver qué descubrimos. De momento me parece muy interesante, por ejemplo, el hecho de que... a ver, los artículos falsos no creo que sea algo con maldad, sino lo que digo, para ahorrarse un dinero y ya está. Obviamente pues no siempre hace falta comprar todo original, ¿no? En este caso un juego de té, pues bueno, no tienes que gastarte un té en una tetera de la dinastía Ming la vida, así que se puede entender. Vamos a ver qué pasa por aquí, a ver si lo vemos pescando.
The wharf is as busy as ever. I hear the anglers here sometimes sell their fish to the nearby fishmongers.
Vale, vamos a hablar con la Osun, ¿no? Que está por aquí. Hola. Mirad ese pez cortado, tío, qué burrada.
What would you like to buy today?
Queremos preguntarte acerca de alguien.
Sorry to interrupt. We're actually members of the Liyue Anglers Association, and we just wanted to ask a few questions about someone. We've heard about this young man called Zhi, who's supposed to be a fantastic fisherman. Just wondering if you happen to have heard of him?
Whoa! Yelan made up a whole fake identity without batting an eyelid!
Ah, yes, Zhi. He's been making quite a name for himself recently. I've got some friends who travel all over the place, and they tell me everywhere they go they meet someone who's heard of him. Apparently, he had a rather tough time growing up. Had to work several jobs alongside his studies to make ends meet. How does that saying go? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, if there's anything to that logic, he's sure to be phenomenally successful one day.
Yeah, we think so too!
But I'm afraid your Anglers Association might be in for a disappointment.
Oh? Why's that?
He's good at a lot of things, but fishing isn't one of them. He fishes at the wharf and sells what he catches to me on occasion. His catches are always mediocre. Not terrible, but equally nothing to write home about.
That sounds fantastic. I've got a couple...
Sure thing. See you.
Everywhere they go, they meet someone who's heard of him. Come on, let's keep asking around.
Vale, pues vamos a averiguar más de si... Continúa buscando pistas, ¿no? A ver. El ahogado tenía que ser uno.
Here to buy some fish? It's 300 for one or 3 for 1,000.
Hola, el
You
ahogado.
better hurry.
Hello, we're from the Society for Fish Price Research.
Wow! She switched identity again!
Society for Fish Price Research? I haven't done anything illegal. Stay out of my business.
Please, don't worry. We're just here to conduct a simple survey. We've heard about a certain Zhi who's been selling fresh fish at low prices in this area recently. Do you know anything about this?
So this isn't about me. You should have said something, you know. I haven't heard anything about him selling fresh fish at low prices, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was him.
Oh? Why is that?
Because he's so poor. His parents died when he was very young, and his alcoholic father still owed a huge amount of debt. No, he was still a kid when he first came to the wharf. His clothes were ragged, and he had a bandage wrapped around his head. And he managed to survive, thanks to Uncle Tien, who gave him some food. But still to this day, he doesn't have a lot of mora to his name. I mean, he can afford to eat and everything, but you'll often see him haggling with others over just a few mora. So, I wouldn't be surprised to find out he's been selling a few fish. It's not like he catches much anyway, so it's not going to affect my business.
You'd rather he didn't know?
Well, I spoke to him once, briefly, and I just had a feeling that he really cares what other people think of him.
Mira, esto sí que es
I think he
interesante.
has pretty low self-esteem, but hey, it's hardly my place to say anything. What he's achieved already puts most people to shame. And nobody's perfect. I just wouldn't want to upset him, that's all.
I see. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
Not a problem. And just for the record, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the price of my fish.
The more times you say it, the less convincing it becomes.
Eso es verdad.
Doesn't have a lot of mora to his name.
Vale, parece que no tiene mucho dinero, ¿no? Ok, vamos a ir por aquí, pero algo dice que Dugu es quien nos va a decir la siguiente vez. ¡Hola!
Wait, what's the phrase? Oh yeah. What brings you to me?
The truth is, we are but newcomers to this territory. We heard tell of a great martial artist, Master Dugu, who knows everything there is to know. Hence, we sought you out to ask for your guidance.
Oh.
Really? People said I know everything there is to know?
But of course. We also heard that Master Dugu is a kind and virtuous swordsman who never turns away anyone who comes with questions.
Great! So what do you wish to know? Nothing happens on this street that I don't know about.
Now she's lying to a kid.
Pero se le ve muy contento.
So, Master Dugu, have you heard of one by the name of Jur-E?
Sure have. You mean that guy that all the grown-ups are talking about these days? I've heard many tales of Juri. For example, I can't remember. Probably because it's nothing that important. I prefer stories about sword-fighting heroes.
Oh, I can completely understand that. Then let me ask you this. Do you remember roughly when the grown-ups started talking about Jur-E?
Oh yeah, I know that. It was about 2 or 3 months ago. Before that, people always used to talk about Juri in a kind of nasty tone of voice. But 2 or 3 months ago, suddenly everyone started to like him. Sometimes he gives me candies, so I'm glad that people are starting to like him now.
Just as I thought.
Huh? What do you mean?
I mean, just as I thought, Master Dugu is indeed as kind and virtuous as the legends claim.
I'm not that great. Oh yeah, one other thing. These days, there's a lot of people I've never seen before talking about Juri stories in the street. They seem like nice people.
Oh, definitely.
Great! So next time I see them, I'll say hi. And I guess I can share some of my candies with them too.
Certainly. You can also tell my friend in Yenshang Tea House about what they're up to. I'm sure my friend would also like to say hi to them.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Well then, fare thee well, Master Dugu.
Until we meet again.
Any
Vaya.
of that sound strange to you?
Sí.
Strange? What was
Me queda rayado
strange
yo, no
about
sé.
Juri seems to have a great reputation. Uncle Soon and Uncle Gao spoke highly of him, and Dugu Shuo seems to like him too.
True. But the issue is, where did his sudden celebrity come from? It almost seems too good to be true.
Sudden? Too good to be true? What do you mean?
So he returns cruelty with kindness, and had to work to support his studies. These are the kinds of things that make someone well known in their hometown. But Uncle Soon said even his friends who travel far and wide hear about him wherever they go. That's a little over the top, if you ask me. Do you remember what Dugu Shuo said about Jur-E's stories? Clearly they left him with a good impression of the guy. But beyond that, he wasn't interested in the details. That's the reaction I would expect from any normal person. Plus, there's the fact that all this praise of Jur-E has only been happening within the last 2 or 3 months. His childhood, his studies, the thing with his neighbor. None of these are recent events. So why are these stories only going...
When you put it like that, it is kinda strange.
Me está haciendo pensar, la misión esta, la verdad.
Jur-E was born into a poor family. Paying people to get his stories out there is within the rules of the game as far as I'm concerned. The problem is, do you remember what Uncle Gao said about him? He's stayed poor his whole life. Everything he's earned he's either spent on studying, traveling, or paying off debts. I don't think he has the moral to pay. Right, and that changes everything. It can mean a powerful faction is trying to gain influence over the Liu at Xixing. That's the worst case scenario. But all too often, the most pessimistic speculation turns out to be closest.
Someone's trying to gain influence over the Qixing? That sounds serious. What should we do? Even if we asked Juri about it, surely there's no way he'd admit it.
First, we need to find out who's supporting him. Don't
Vale,
worry.
parece que tiene un plan.
Remember the current affairs and planning stage of the assessment? Since the successful candidate is duty-bound to implement their plan after taking office, whoever is secretly helping Jur-E must be seeking to benefit from his actions after his appointment. Come on, let's get back to Yansheng Tea House.
Pues vámonos de vuelta. A ver qué pasa, ¿no? La cosa pinta bastante guay. Me está molando mucho, la misión. Está muy top. Vale, vamos a venir. A ver, lo bueno es que está cerca, así que podemos ir tranquilamente corriendo con el buen dash. Y a ver qué pasa. No sé qué os está pareciendo la misión, pero desde luego me está pareciendo muy interesante la intriga que le están poniendo. Y aunque de momento haya sido prácticamente todo texto, ¿no? Sí que es verdad que nos va presentando los personajes de una manera que queda hasta bastante bien. O sea, estoy muy contento con la misión. Vamos a ir por aquí y vamos a ver qué está pasando. Queremos revisar la propuesta.
Jur-E's manifesto covers a huge range of topics. Looking for details that don't add up will be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. I'll divide the reports into 2 piles. You take one, I'll take the other. When we're finished, we'll put our heads together. Officially, the assessment is already over, and I'll be expected to announce the results before long. So we have to get to the bottom of this as quickly as we can.
Yikes! We better hurry!
Whatever else Uncle Tian might think of Jur-E, the fact remains that he's one of his favorite students. Any evidence he's left is not going to be immediately obvious. We'll have to look carefully and think critically.
Vale, pues parece que aquí están los planes, así que vamos a ver.
Even though Yelan took half, this is still a lot to get through. Well, we
Vale,
gotta
vamos a
start-
leer, va. Vamos, Paimon. Asuntos marítimos. Vale, combatir a los monstruos marinos en flota de interiores en la siguiente manera. Una descripción breve y concisa de todos los asuntos relacionados con la defensa marítima, ¿vale? Leer asuntos mineros. Asuntos viales.
All this reading.
Vale. Vamos a ponernos de acuerdo con Yelan. Uf, qué reventado.
Yeah, looks like I'm the first one back, as usual.
¡Hey, Sangwa!
Oh, hey! It's one of Yelan's little helpers.
Me mola mucho el diseño, ¿eh?
If you're back, that means you finished investigating Tianwei.
You betcha. I visited all the commerce guilds and gathered a wealth of information. Every time they asked me to leave, but I always had another trick up my sleeve.
Don't drag this out. Just tell us your findings.
Madre mía. Yelan va full,
Lady
¿eh?
Yelan. To
Vale.
summarize my findings, most people who've had interactions with Tianwei will start out complaining about how proud and arrogant he is, but then go on to give a generally positive appraisal of him. The young master of the Feiyun Commerce Guild said that Tianwei appears arrogant, but he's very scrupulous in the way he works. Once he signs a contract with somebody, he treats them fairly regardless of their background.
Eso es importante.
Is it possible that his reputation is fake? Is there any way you can check the accounts of the businesses under his name?
In theory, that should be very difficult. But here's the thing. I asked around and found out that almost all of Tianwei's accounts are open to the public.
No, que es una persona
Where
muy
he buys
transparente,
from and
Tianwei.
sells to should be confidential business information, but he doesn't seem interested in protecting it at all. Tianwei often sees business opportunities that others don't, but once he's made enough mora off of it, it's like he gets sick of it and releases all of his trade secrets.
Vaya.
It's like he wants people to know that they still can't beat him, even if he shares all of his secrets. The fact that someone like that can still make mora is pretty infuriating when you think about it.
What a strange guy. It's like he's not doing business to make mora, but
To validate his theories. No wonder his manifesto contains so many insights. It's all the result of his first-hand
Vamos, que
experimentation.
nos ha sorprendido, ¿no?
Back.
¡Hey! Aquí está Wen
What do you
Yuan.
think? Obviously, because I possess superior skills and am always one step ahead of the competition.
You... Ugh, whatever. I'm not getting into an argument with you. If I hadn't had something else to take care of on the way, I would have been back long before you. Lady Yelan, I have finished investigating Mingbois.
Wenyuan ha investigado a Mingbois.
The Ministry of Civil Affairs says that Mingbois struggles to get his words out when he gets nervous. But after a few days of getting to know him, you can pretty much have a normal conversation with him. On the whole, the feedback from the Ministry of Civil Affairs was very positive.
In your opinion, was the Ministry of Civil Affairs' appraisal of Mingbois at all?
I don't believe so. Mingbois is someone who has slowly but surely earned the reputation he has today. According to Miss Yu, the Ministry often gets Mingbois to take a final look at projects before they're implemented. People feel much more confident in something if it has his stamp of approval. Oh, and also, there was once someone in the Ministry who was lying and cheating to try to advance their career. Mingbois gave them the scolding of a lifetime. Apparently, he can be terrifying when he loses his temper.
Whoa, that's hard to imagine.
Like I said before, things are not always as they appear.
Ah, so that's what you meant by that.
Thank you both. You're free to go now.
Vale, pues parece que ya se pueden retirar los espías secretos de nuestra amiga Yelan.
Have you finished reading the manifesto?
Vamos a leer. Vale, pues terminamos de leer el plan junto a Yelan, así que vamos a ver cómo continúa esta pequeña aventura.
The only one that strikes me as a little unusual is the Cheongshu Pool redevelopment plan.
¿Qué es eso?
Cheongshu Pool has always been home to many secrets. Plus, Ajdaha once wrought havoc there, so there are even more secrets buried deep underground. At some point, a rumor began to go around that there is great treasure buried beneath Cheongshu Pool. A long time ago, with the approval of the Qixing, a mining team conducted an exploratory excavation there.
So, did they find any treasure?
None. The ruin was completely impenetrable. The only way they could have gotten through the solid rock would have been by blowing it open with a special kind of explosive.
Boom!
The technology wasn't mature enough at that time, so the excavation project was shut down and the treasure became a mere legend. Zhi-Yi's manifesto focuses on solving problems, and this treasure hunt seems extremely risky. Still, this one fact alone doesn't tell us much. Everyone wants to get their hands on this treasure. The treasure hoarders, the Fatui...
Pues vamos a comprobarlo.
Did you find anything?
Excavation, project, treasure? Did we read anything similar?
La forja de Peñasco Oscuro.
Oh, yeah! Zhi-Yi said the Blackcliff Forge workers should get right of first refusal if any suitable projects come up.
Did he now? Well, that makes everything much clearer. So Zhi-Yi wants the Blackcliff Forge to excavate the treasure of Cheongshu Pool.
Does that mean the Blackcliff Forge is Zhi-Yi's secret supporter?
No, not likely. I've looked into the Blackcliff Forge before. They do possess some specialized explosives, but it would seem more trouble than it's worth to put so many resources into a risky project like this.
Ya, cada vez esto me plantea más preguntas.
Since the clues are pointing toward the Blackcliff Forge, we should see where they lead. We may well find something new.
Pues vamos a investigar, gente, ¿qué queréis que os diga? Vale, hay que ir a la forja de Peñasco Oscuro. Como podéis ver, es un lugar que no es que esté muy lejos, pero si no me equivoco con el mapa, vamos a poder tepearnos aquí arriba a la cámara de Jade y desde ahí lanzarnos abajo de una manera fácil. Como siempre, ya sabéis, tenemos el truquillo de XIAO. Así que vamos a venir por aquí y simplemente cuando estemos más o menos en recto, ¿no? Pulsaremos círculo, pero esperaos un momentito, aquí hay que calcular bien. No es que haya calculado perfecto, ¿no? Pero bueno, vale. Pistas. Hoy tampoco sucedió nada. Vale, día de pago, mientras no reclutas. Vale.
What's this? A diary?
Eso parece Paimon.
It looks like a ledger, but it seems they also use it as a site log. We don't know who wrote it, but it's interesting, don't you think?
You think they're suspicious?
Yes. Look, it says right there, one of them's already been promoted to team leader. At this rate, by the time the Cheongshu Pool redevelopment plan is ready to roll, they'll be the technical backbone of the team. That'll give them the chance to take a lot of liberties. They can copy any secret texts or steal any treasure they find underground. Imagine if we didn't suspect anything. By the time Jur-E recommends the Blackcliff Forge for the excavation project, at most we would maybe do a fresh background check on the place. No red flags if all they did was change some key staff. And even if we decided to vet the staff individually, that's the advantage of planning this far in advance. It was a clever move.
When you put it like that, it all makes sense. If we hadn't found this out, someone else would have stolen the treasure. So, who's really behind all this?
No lo sé.
That's a question for the newcomers. But let's start with that worker over there for...
Vale, vamos a intentar averiguarlo, es importante, así que vamos a hablar con los trabajadores. Seguro que saben algo.
We want to ask you about the newcomers.
You want them to teach you or something? I gotta say, these newcomers are in tip-top shape. Fast learners, too. They're picking up all the skills unbelievably fast. My only complaint is that they're always going out drinking at night. But they never let us join them. I guess they just need some time to adjust. I'm sure we'll get to know each other over time.
They go out drinking. This area isn't exactly renowned for the nightlife. I'm guessing it's a long trip to the nearest tavern.
You got that right. They tell me they go all the way back to Liyue Harbor to drink at Wanmin Restaurant. It rained after work today, so they actually stuck around at the site for a while. But as soon as the rain stopped, they went out drinking again right away. Hey, you're only young once, right? I say, if they can hack it, let them at it.
Interesting. Let's go talk somewhere else.
Pues vamos a ver. ¿Qué pasa?
Looks like our hunch was on the Mora. These newcomers are very suspicious. Drinking in Liyue Harbor, huh? Some cover story. I'll wager they've been going to intelligence updates. Good thing it rained today. It means they'll leave footprints. I doubt they'd give themselves away that easily.
Vale, vamos a seguir las huellas. Y ojo, a ver qué pasa por aquí, porque esto pinta interesante. Vale, más huellas, ¿no? Hacia el final esto tendrá su...
Wind, hear me.
Me he hecho la cura. Y seguimos investigando.
These footprints are heading towards Liyue Harbor. Maybe we were wrong about them.
Just as I thought. They didn't go to Liyue Harbor. They went that way.
A ver. ¿Qué hay más huellas?
The footprints stop here.
Esto es muy raro, ¿eh?
But, judging from the direction, I'm guessing their destination was that abandoned house.
Vale. Vale, aquí hay una fogata apagada. Y a ver aquí qué hay. ¿Pelea? ¿Y esto qué es? Vale, aquí parece que no hay más pistas.
Looks like we were too late. This has gotta be where the newcomers rendezvous with whoever they're working for. But all the evidence has been destroyed. Look at these ashes. Someone was burning documents not long before we arrived.
Could there be anything left? Maybe the wind could have blown the fire out before everything was finished burning.
The odds of that are very slim. It's practically impossible. I've checked. All the paper's been burned. There's only ash left now.
Why don't we wait for them back at the Blackcliff Forge? They've got to go back there sooner or later.
We can't count on that. Clearly they were based here at one point. but it's mysteriously abandoned now. To me, that says that whoever's behind this has moved them somewhere else to throw our investigation off course.
Darn! Guess this is where a trail runs cold.
Make no mistake, the purpose of our trip wasn't to find any solid evidence. I smelled something peculiar the moment I came in. Those newcomers probably thought they'd be safe as long as they burned the letters. But what they failed to consider is that paper and ink from different regions.
Really?
Bueno. No era muy tenue.
There is a certain place with a freezing cold climate.
Es en Halla, ¿no?
Some wealthy people there put floral fragrance when that fragrant ink is burned.
Es en Halla.
Exactly. The
Lo
evidence
sabía.
will, but it's all I need. Now I know who we're dealing with.
Lady Yelan! Oh, thank goodness I finally found you. I thought I'd never see you again.
Don't be alarmed. This is Upei. He's
Upei.
Renyuan and Shanghua's colleague. I sent him to look into Zhi-Yi's regular contacts. Since Zhi-Yi likes fishing, Upei thought he might know some of the fishermen and sailors, so he took a boat out to sea.
Esta Yelan piensa en todo, ¿eh?
I left him a note at Yanshang Tea House telling him to look for me at Blackcliff Forge when he got back. If there'd been an ambush waiting for us there. So, what did you find out at sea?
Forgive my incompetence. I'm afraid I've come up empty-handed. I asked all the fishermen multiple times, but none of them had any interactions with Zhi-Yi before. Then the waves got so choppy I ended up falling overboard. When I got back, I heard that you'd gone to Blackcliff Forge and might need backup, so I went straight there as fast as I could.
Well, Uncle Tian said that Zhi-Yi once bought a recipe from one of the fishermen.
What? That's news to me. No, that's not possible. It's absolutely not possible. Lady Yelan, I'm telling you, I spoke to every single fisherman out there, and none of them mentioned anything about a recipe.
Interesting. Then I wonder how that even more wonderful fish soup came about.
Fish soup? What fish soup?
Nothing. Our priority right now is to find a
Vale,
way to
esto
get
cambia de nuevo
well,
todo.
Any suggestions?
Esperemos a que se reúnan y atrapémoslos con las manos en la masa.
Not a bad idea. Upei, what do you think?
Honestly, I've already tried following Zhi-Yi, but the guy's too cautious. Never meets with anyone suspicious.
Okay, so tailing's out.
No, we'll still need to tail him. But first, we need to do some groundwork.
Groundwork?
When you've worked in intelligence for a long time, you'll understand that no one can stay on high alert forever. Especially when he thinks he's about to win. Tomorrow morning, I'll announce his victory at Yuehai Pavilion. Take a guess what you think he'll do next. Be sure to arrive on time. You won't want to miss the show.
¡Oh! Pues es buen plan, ¿eh? Aquí la trampa que dice Yelan puede estar bastante bien. Así que hay que esperar hasta el día siguiente. Por tanto, como ya sabéis, nosotros venimos por aquí y hacemos la magia. Vamos a hacer... Ahí está. A ver qué pasa ahora. Vale, ya hemos esperado. A las 9 o 12 horas, pues vamos a volver a esperar. Vale, pues parece que esto ya estaría, así que ahora tenemos que volver, en este caso, ¿no? Hacia allá. Vamos a tío. Vamos a ver qué ocurre en este caso al explorar lo que falta de esta zona, ¿eh? Ah, lo de las personas desaparecidas, vale, vale. A ver. Vamos a ver si funciona el plan de Yelan, obviamente. Ahí está. Zhongli. Ya veo. Zongli solo se refería a que los detalles son incorrectos. La visión del dragón. Vale, esto es para el evento. Vale. Sí, es verdad. Vale. Tian Lengua de Acero va por 2 abanicos y se regala a Zongli a nosotros. Perfecto. ¿De verdad puedo quedármelo? Pues nada. Tenemos el abanico. Vale, pues nos disculpamos, pero vamos a hablar con Zongli de lo que parece ser una nueva aventura. Gracias. Vale, esto tiene que ver con la misión que hicimos, ya sabéis, del principio de esta versión, en la cual tuvimos el vídeo de las 2 horas y pico. Vale. ¿Extrañas el pasado? ¡Ojo! Me ha gustado esta conversación. Vale, esto es la leyenda del abanico, misión completada, ¿vale? Y tenemos que esperar para una apuesta calculada. Entonces, esto tenía... A ver... Ah, pues tiene que ver con la misión. Yo me pensaba que esto de Zongli era algo más extraño, pero no, parece que todo tiene que ver con lo mismo. Vamos a ver. Vamos a esperar un día, vamos a ver qué ocurre ahora. A ver, esto es que claro, es lo que digo, dentro de la misión legendaria, ¿no? Supongo que es un evento que ocurre si ya nos hemos pasado lo anterior de Yelan, de ahí que nos la recomendaran completar la misión después de lo que es la historia principal. Vamos a ver ahora qué más hay por aquí. Vale. Vale, tenemos que ir al pabellón. Como ya sabéis, usaremos a XIAO rapidito para subirnos al pabellón de manera más fácil. Pero si no, siempre podemos teletransportarnos arriba e ir hacia él. Vamos a ver qué pasa por aquí. Me está molando mucho la legendaria, ¿eh? O sea, es lo que digo, es la típica legendaria que tiene muchísimo lore dentro. Y es una manera perfecta de conocer los personajes.
All of us here know the score. Don't beat around the bush. Just get on with it.
Qianwei has many pioneering ideas, but some of his plans are lacking in detail, and he easily gets into testy exchanges with other people. Mingbo is reliable, but not quite ambitious enough, and because of his personality, he struggles to win people over. In contrast, Zhi is evenly balanced across the board and enjoys an excellent reputation in Liyue. After much consideration, I have decided to recommend Zhi to the Liyue Qixing.
What?
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Honestly, I'm a little surprised to hear my name being announced. In my estimation, all three of us are worthy candidates for the Tianshu position. As your competitor, I've become keenly aware of your great talents. Would either of you entertain the possibility of working with me in the future and taking on some of my workload?
I'll have to see. I'm in a bad mood. This is the last thing I want to be thinking about right now.
I don't mind, as long as I can help.
Okay, well, that's all from me. Zhi, you'll have some preparation to do. It won't be long before you're informed of your official appointment. I hope you will work hard and make Uncle Tian proud.
I will live up to the Tianshu name. On this, you have my word. I should go. I need to pack my things, and then I think a celebratory meal is in order. Would anyone like to join me?
Count me out. I'm not in the mood for a celebration.
Zhi seems pretty relaxed now.
Hey, traveler, tell me something. What exactly does that guy have that I don't? If you can't answer that, I'm not accepting this result.
I, also wouldn't mind knowing.
Oh no, if we get stuck here, we won't be able to leave.
Oh.
Follow him.
Yes, ma'am.
Vale, parece que Yelan se ha adelantado y manda a Wenyuan a seguirlo. Y vamos a convencer aquí a los otros dos y ya nos hemos librado de ellos.
Lady Yelan, Zhi has gone towards Feiyun's
Pendiente de Feiyun, vale. Pues parece que tenemos que ir a pendiente de Feiyun, así que vamos a abrir el mapa. Y ya sabéis, teleport no hace falta en este caso porque estamos en la zona cercana. Y esto es dentro de Liyue, así que nosotros vamos a buscar hacer un buen salto y a ver qué pasa.
Difficult to say, but everything should become a lot clearer when you find him.
Useless.
A ver, aquí. Oh.
I'm sorry, Lady Yelan. We lost him. He's
¿Eh?
too good
¿Lo
at
han
this.
perdido?
We weren't able to keep following him without being seen.
How the heck did he manage to shake Yelan's subordinates? I guess Zhi didn't let his guard down.
No, Upe says he's much more relaxed than usual. Maybe it's just how he's wired.
But how?
Don't blame yourselves. Let's not forget he was trained by Uncle Tian himself. Evading detection is not an unusual skill for him to have. If I'd asked you to tail Uncle Tian, you'd have ended up at a dead end too. It's fine. So, where did you lose him?
Xinyue kiosk. He only went in briefly. Upe and I were watching outside the whole time. A few moments later, a man dressed in a completely different outfit came out. Upe had a feeling that it was him, but we couldn't get close enough to check without blowing our cover. I figured that if we spooked him, it would undo what we've accomplished today so far. Another option would have been to arrest him there and then, but without any evidence, that would have been meaningless. So I stopped Upe, and I stayed here to wait for you while that meathead went to ask around in Xinyue kiosk.
Good work.
Vale.
The fish didn't take the bait, but that's okay. As long as he's still swimming around, we'll find a way to catch him eventually. The key is figuring out what he's trying to achieve. Let's go to Xinyue kiosk.
Pues vamos a ver. Vamos a buscar pistas dentro del kiosco Xinyue y a ver qué encontramos. ¿Puedo pedir para llevar? No sé si hay alguna cosita nueva. Vale, no hay más recetas. Pero voy a comprar un poquito de todo. Vale. Y ahora vamos para adentro. A ver qué pasa, porque me está dejando loquísimo esto, poca broma.
Could you explain to me how that works? A guy like him comes in, changes his whole outfit right under your nose, and you don't even ask him about it?
Our customers are free to dress however they please. What grounds would I have to question him?
Okay, fair enough, but didn't you think it was just a little bit strange?
Well, maybe I did, but it still doesn't give me the right to stop him.
Enough. Let's tone this down a little. I'll make this quick. Just one question. What did he buy while he was here?
Oh, he didn't buy anything. He just picked up a bottle of liquor that he ordered ages ago.
A bottle of liquor?
Yes, a very strong kind. Fiery, with a rich flavor. Not something the average customer would order. This gentleman ordered it in person from us a long time ago. He was only here today to pick it up.
Liquor and wineware. I see. Let's go.
Where to?
Shigu Antiques.
Vale, hay que ir ahora a la tienda de antigüedades. Ya sabéis que ahí es lo que vimos de Shigu, así que ahora mismo es de lo poco que se me ocurre también que hacer a mí. O sea, yo es la pista que hubiera seguido, así que vamos a venir hacia afuera y a ver qué pasa. De momento, lo que digo, una misión que nos deja pensando, ¿no?, mucho en todo lo que podemos ir viendo y demás, así que está guay. Pero aún así tengo, lo que digo, demasiadas preguntas y muy pocas respuestas, así que vamos a ver si por lo menos descubrimos qué está pasando en esta legendaria. Linlan, vengo a hablar contigo.
Hey, Miss Linlong. Sorry to bother you. Zhi ordered a wineware set from you not long ago, right? We're friends of his. He's been telling us how impressed he is with the quality, considering how affordable it was. So we just had to come and take a look for ourselves.
Sure. Which model are you looking for?
We don't really know a whole lot about wineware. Let's just go with Zhi's choice. Would you be able to show us the one he bought?
Zhi picked up his set not long ago. As a quality imitation of an antique wineware set, it has the look and feel of a luxury item. Just so you're aware, we don't have many of this model left in stock. And now that Mr. Zhi has taken one, I'm afraid it may encourage the price to go.
Don't worry. Price shouldn't be an issue. I'm sure we can work something out. But I'm just a little hazy on one thing. Did Zhi's wineware set include wine glasses, or...?
For this set, the wine glasses are sold separately. Minimum purchase is 1 glass, maximum is 4. Mr. Zhi bought 2.
Okay. Thanks, Linlong. Seems there's a little more to buying wineware than I first thought. We'll have to mull it over.
Well, don't take too long. We could sell out any day now. All right, see you next time.
This is turning into a real headache.
I'd just like to point out that we have the self-professed Grand Master of Fieldwork here to thank for being wholly incapable of tailing an ordinary civilian without being seen.
It's not like you did any better.
My specialty is information trading, okay? I don't have the physical agility. What's your excuse?
Fair point.
Yelan, so has the plan failed? Oh, if we can't figure out where Zhi went...
If so, it's no ordinary celebration.
Vale, no es una celebración normal, ¿no?
First of all, Zhi isn't much of a drinker. On some level, he hates alcohol because of what it did to his father. If he was just looking to celebrate by himself, he wouldn't spend his meager savings on an expensive bottle of alcohol. Let alone... No, this is a victory feast, held in honor of Zhi's private sponsor. Whoever this person is clearly enjoys hard liquor and has a very high status. Now, where might we find Fatui who match that description, I wonder?
Fatui officials. Should be either the Snezhnayan Embassy or the Northland Bank.
Have both locations surrounded.
Lady Yelan, is it time for us to make our move? If so, you can count me
Vale. Se está poniendo una cosa interesante. Por fin los Fatu tienen algo que ver. Y esto puede ser muy interesante.
But Lady Yelan, If we get caught, this could...
I'm well aware.
No os preocupéis, vamos a buscar la solución rápido y vamos a ir a buscar qué está pasando. Ya sabéis que hay que vigilar todos los lugares donde Fiji pueda estar y para ello vamos a mandar supongo a Wenja, a Sanga y a nuestro otro amigo, ¿no? A buscar cada uno de sus puntos. Vale, pues vamos a prepararnos. Ok, pues la cosa se ha puesto de repente todavía más interesante. Esto está que arde. ¿Y qué queréis que os diga? Yo creo que es una misión legendaria que realmente al final tiene mucho que decirnos. Y me está sorprendiendo porque supongo que ahora se viene lo bueno, ¿no? Vamos a hablar aquí con Yelan de nuevo. Vale. Yusupop, el diplomático de Fatui dejó la embajada hace poco. Vale, estanques. Vale, es que todo tiene que ver con estanque.
Sensible choice. Qingshu Pool is always crawling with monsters. Most people wouldn't dream of going there.
Oh no, we gotta go get them.
Vale, pues vamos a por ello.
My hunch is correct.
Ok, pues vamos al estanque, vamos a ver qué podemos descubrir. Ya sabéis que el estanque, para llegar a él, lo mejor es que vayamos al mapa, ¿vale? Y literalmente tenemos el teletransportador de aquí que está más o menos cerca. Así que vamos a hacer el TP y al lío. Cuando llegamos aquí, lo único que tenemos que hacer... Esto me da a mí que va a ser una mazmorra, ¿eh? Poca broma, pero... tiene la pinta. Vamos allá, ya sabéis, para no recibir ningún daño de caída.
Full of ruins, crawling with monsters. Anyone with any sense steers well clear of this place. I've looked into the place before. There's a worker's entrance somewhere around here. Follow me.
Espera un momento. Que he visto un cofre ahí y digo, what? Vale, necesitamos una arquera de fuego. Esto lo había hecho. Vale, encendemos. Encendemos. Y encendemos la última. Y ya está. Cofre abierto y a por él. Vale, lo tenemos. Es lo que os digo, en estas zonas a veces pues se me ha pasado algún cofre. Ojo, me ha venido bien porque con la legendaria poca broma, pero me he sacado 2 cofritos que me faltaban de Liyue. A ver si algún día me da por explorar todo porque... es lo que digo, es que es un juego tan grande que al final siempre hay cositas que se nos pueden pasar por encima y eso mola bastante. Vale, vamos a ver. Estamos en la zona. ¡Ojo!
There's been some work done on this place in the past, but it's a bit of a labyrinth inside. The workers left an emergency access route. Still, be ready
vale,
to
pues
fight.
Parece que por aquí vamos a tener que adentrarnos.
Don't worry, we're all professionals.
Somos profesionales.
By the way, Yelan, where are your 3 little helpers at?
They have other things to take care of first. We couldn't afford to wait for them, but they'll join.
No nos vamos a esperar a los amigos, pero sí que parece que aquí tenemos una mazmorra. Así que entra en las ruinas y tenemos el dominio tocho de esta historia, de esta misión legendaria de Yelan, que nosotros que ruinas subterráneas del estanque de Xinqiu. Vamos a llegar al fondo de este asunto. Pues vamos a completar el dominio, vamos a ir aquí con el equipo de siempre, con Jin, con Eula, con Yoimiya y con XIAO. Y bueno, parece que aquí podemos probar ya, así que ojo, hay cofrecitos, esto es bueno, vamos allá. Vamos a hacerlo a lo rápido. ¡Morid! Ahí está. Vale, primer cofre. Ah, que está aquí el...
Beg for mercy. Yeah. Gotcha. Quietly. Really. Shudder. More speed. Gotcha.
Yelan, number 1.
As I expected, but this shouldn't be too much trouble.
Vale. ¿Qué está pasando aquí? No lo sé. Vale, este es el Fatui, seguro.
I see that. That's gotta be the Fatui ambassador here to meet Ji. Looks like he went through that door. That must be the emergency access route, right? Come on, let's hurry.
Pues vamos a investigar un poquito todo esto. Me está pareciendo muy flipante todo, ¿eh? Vamos a ver. Tiene pinta de que hay que encender estas cosas. Evil Conquering. Vamos allá por uno y a por otro. Al lío. Cofrecito y otra de estas cositas que debería valernos para activar esta otra. Vale. Y con esto, ¡boom! Magia. Entrada secreta. ¿Cómo molan las mazmorras? Pues vamos a ver qué hay abajo. Por aquí no hay nada, pero aquí tenemos otra plataforma. Vamos a ver hacia dónde nos lleva. Está bastante guay, la mazmorra.
Beg for mercy.
Vamos a golpear con Eula rápido. Uno menos. ¡Fuera! Por aquí, ojo.
Things are about to get dicey. Quietly now. Take it easy.
Me encantan las flechas de Yelan, o sea, está OP. La ulti es brutal. Vale, aquí tenemos un cofre. Lo cogemos. Y aquí estaría, vale, el segundo de estas cositas, ¿no? Vale, aquí tenemos el cofre sofisticadito. Esto ya sabéis que se puede empujar. Y ahora deberíamos de poder abrir esto, ¿no? Ahí está. No ha sido tan complicado. Me ha gustado, o sea, puzzle sencillito, pero divertido a la vez. A ver, es que este tipo de mazmorras es lo que digo. Yo creo que es algo que en las legendarias o en cualquier tipo de misión siempre lo vamos a agradecer. Pero vamos a ver qué pasa ahora porque esto sigue, ¿no?
The waters flowed into the groove, and now the statues have lit up. Okay.
Vale.
Now we should be able to move the statues.
Vale, ahora podemos mover las estatuas. Entonces vamos a ir por aquí y a ver de qué va esto. No. A ver, yo creo que hay que ponerlas aquí, ¿no? Vale.
Take it easy.
Este hay que ponerlo aquí, ¿no? Y nos faltaría una. Esto, por ejemplo, lo ponemos ahí. Y ahora esto podemos avanzar. En plan, avanzo empujando aquí. Empujo aquí. Empujo aquí. Esta la traigo hacia aquí y esta venimos por detrás, ¿no? Y al lío. A ver, puzzle muy sencillito, pero oye, divertido, ¿no? Ahí está, tenemos las tres, se abre esto y vamos a ver qué pasa por allí. ¡Wow!
We should be nearly at the bottom now. Let's wrap this up.
Busted. Gotcha.
Vamos a ganar yo y Milla, vamos a soltarle aquí todo. Eula, la ulti. Acto seguido tiramos la habilidad de Jin para combinar con lo de Eula. Y ya cambiamos a XIAO para reventarse aquí el bicho. Y terminar un poquito, ¿no? Con la habilidad, con la ulti de Yelan, que le va a decir adiós. Ya está. Nos hemos pasado el juego. Vale, vamos a seguir por aquí, que esto continúa, gente. Pasadizo extraño, pero aquí está a quien buscábamos.
I can tell from the aroma that this is very fine liquor indeed. I'm impressed. Come on, bottoms up. After you, of course.
No se fía.
Oh, sorry, that went down the wrong way. I've never drunk anything this strong before.
You'll get there. If you want to stay friends with us, you have to drink with us.
I'll do my best.
You're more of a lightweight than I thought. Already struggling after one glass? I thought you were made of sterner stuff. You certainly kept it together when you were poisoning your teacher's soup.
¿Qué?
Come on, another round.
Sure. You didn't leave me much of a choice, though, did you? Just the mention of poisoning sends shivers down my spine. I'm more timid than you realize. Every time I poisoned him, I had to hide away at home for a few days because I was...
Look, I know it has not been easy for you, my friend. But, I have to say, you really are quite a genius at poisoning people. I mean, the poison we brought from Snezhnaya is as strong as this wine, but you found a way to turn it into an imperceptible, slow-acting poison, and came up with the idea of delivering it through fish soup. What was it you said? Oh, yeah. You said the soup's fishy flavor neutralizes the pungency of the poison, and this process even makes the soup tastier as a...
It struck me one day when I was fishing. I'm lucky it did. Otherwise, I'm not sure I would have been able to fool Uncle Tien.
You have performed excellently. The Fatui will continue to provide the support you need to consolidate your position as Tien Shu. Aside from Qing Shu Pool, we also have some other requests for you, which...
Don't worry. Whatever tasks you have for me, I will perform them diligently.
Did you hear that? It was poison! That's why Uncle Tien hasn't been feeling well recently. It's all Jurye's doing. What a nasty guy.
Hold on. Did you bring a camera? If not, you can use mine. This is quite a scene.
Vale, tenemos que hacer una foto, ¿no? Vale. Lo tenemos.
Excellent liquor. We've seen no progress on the diplomatic front, and everyone has been eyeing up the treasure of Qingshu Pool. But soon, everything will be taken care of, and I can report back on a successful mission. Thank you, Juryi. I remember when I first saw you. I knew right away that you would make a good partner for us. Hey, do you still remember what I said to you?
How could I forget? You said a lowly commoner like me could never be seen as a serious candidate for the Tianshu, no matter how hard I work. The only way is for you to shine bright in the Tianshu's darkest moment.
Yes. Under normal circumstances, the gap between you and other people could only ever grow wider over time. Just look at your two competitors. Chen Wei had wealth. Ming Bo had reputation. But you had nothing. You were just another nobody. And that's why I decided to help you. You know, there's an old saying in the Fatui. Give a starving dog a bone, and it'll guard your home for the rest of its life.
Yes. I cannot thank you enough for your generous support.
You know, the best thing about you is that you do as you're told without complaining. Hey, keep up the good work, and I can assure you, you'll never have to worry about Mora again. Heck, when you're not in the company of the Fatui, you'll be able to throw your weight around as much as you want. How about that?
Uncle Gao said that Jur-E has low self-esteem. Seems he was right. He was worried that whatever advantage he might have now will diminish over time. So the Fatui persuaded him that he should act while he... Do you have any more film in the camera?
Tengo de sobra.
Then get ready to use it. How well this goes for us depends...
Is there any more alcohol? Go on. Fill me up. I'm in a good mood today.
There's only a little left. Here, I'll fill your glass. If you like it, I can bring you some more next time.
Whoa, this is the
Creo
good
que lo está
stuff.
envenenando, ¿no?
Charlie, you poisoned my wine?
You seem surprised, Mr. Yusupov. How could I not? I've sacrificed years of my life studying and reflecting to prepare myself for this position. And you really think I'd put myself through all that just to become your little puppet?
You imbecile. It's the Fatui who got you to where you are. Do you understand? If I disappear with no explanation, the embassy will come after you.
Do you see the haystack in the corner? Underneath it is a pile of explosives. And next door in the dark room are the 3 undercover agents you sent to infiltrate the Black Cliff Fort. I'm gonna stay here till I see you slip into unconsciousness. Then I'm gonna set this on fire. Once the flames burn through the hay, they'll ignite the explosives. The ruins will collapse, and everything will be buried.
Está loco.
I took the liberty of leaving some evidence of your contact with the undercover agents at the Black Cliff Forge. It won't take long for people to join the dots. The Fatui planted undercover agents in the Black Cliff Forge to steal their signature ruin-grade explosives. Their plan was to blow through the solid floor tiles in the dead of night and seize the treasure of Qingshu Pool. But things didn't quite go to plan. Mistakes were made that led to the accidental deaths of the entire
Está loco Ziggy, ¿eh?
Faced with the overwhelming evidence, the embassy won't investigate this any further. It explains why you acted alone, while exonerating the rest of the embassy of any liability. Of course, none of that will have anything to do with me. When all of this comes to my attention, I'm afraid I'll have no choice but to cancel the Qingshu Pool redevelopment plan immediately.
Cherry, do you really think you're gonna get away with this? The Fatui has a record of everything. After I die...
A record? Oh, you must mean the one in the hands of your second-in-command, Theo.
How?
Because when you contacted me, I also made contact with your associates. I have Theophan to thank for providing me with the poison I used on you today.
Hola.
He'll help me tie up all the loose ends. After all, your untimely demise comes with a few perks for him. He has been eyeing your position for a long time.
That traitor!
Qué fuerte, tío. Me he quedado loco, ¿eh?
Relax. It's over. After tonight, everyone gets what they want. And anyone else in the know is either my accomplice or about to be taken out of the picture. Sweet dreams, Mr. Yusupov.
¡Vamos, Yelan! Quedas detenido. G armada, los cracks de Yelan y este tío que acaba de ser pillado con las manos en la masa, literal. Pues, ¿qué queréis que os diga? Esto ha sido flipante, pero ha sido una trama que me ha gustado muchísimo. La mazmorra ha estado muy divertida, pero sobre todo lo que digo, este momento de tener a Ziggy y descubrir un poquito, ¿no? La verdad creo que ha estado bastante guay, así que vamos a ver qué pasa al final de esto.
I did a little surveying on the way here and found that you'd left yourself 3 escape routes in case things went south. I have them all
Se lo tenía todo
surrounded.
preparado.
If you're thinking of trying anything, save yourself the effort. The game's up. We were here the whole time and have pictures of everything. They came out pretty nicely. Want to see them?
The game's up? Forgive me, I'm not quite sure what you're referring to, Miss Yelan. I happened to discover a Fatui operation here, so I approached them on the pretext of joining forces and eventually brought them down from within. If it pleases you, Miss Yelan, I'd be only too happy to have you join me in investigating this matter.
This is how you want to play it, huh? Fine. You do you. All we need to do to convict you is establish that the poison in his system is the same as in Uncle Tien's. Nothing else you wanted to add? Let's leave it there then. Time to go.
One wrong move and it all comes crashing down. I should have been more careful. You followed him here, didn't you? I was so focused on keeping myself out of sight, I forgot he was a potential liability. Let's talk about this, Yelan. I gave you my word that I would live up to the Tianshu name, and that much I can still guarantee.
Your point being?
When I take office, I can guarantee that I will act in your best interests. In fact, all of you here tonight can expect very generous treatment in the future. I don't deny that I used underhanded methods to get here. But given my lowly origins, what other choice did I have?
You still don't get it, do you? Even now. What do you think?
El tío Tian siempre confió en ti.
Exactly. Jur-E, clever people can always come up with a good excuse. But while you might be able to get other people to believe you, you'll never be able to deceive yourself. There's nothing wrong with wanting to win other people's respect, but when has Uncle Tian ever looked down on you? He was like a teacher and a father to you, but you chose to repay that by poisoning him. Whatever positive goal you may have started out with, you threw it away in that moment.
That's enough.
Of course. What makes this even crueler is that you managed to convince yourself there was no other way. Uncle Tian was always going to give you this opportunity.
Boom!
Even if you'd out of everyone in the world, he is the one who trusts you the most. So much that he drank your fish soup without doubting you, not for once.
That's enough! That's enough.
Life is like fishing. It cannot be rushed. Whatever you do, impatience will accomplish nothing. I was just like you once, desperate to prove myself. Only later did I realize things do not always turn out the way you plan. But you have to keep calm to carry on. You're still young. Be patient, believe in yourself, and don't look outside yourself to prove your value. Where's Jur-E these days? It's been a long time since he last paid me a visit.
Maybe he's just busy.
Well, next time, if he doesn't bring a pot of piping hot fish soup, don't let him in.
Whatever you were thinking about, you'll have plenty of time to mull it over in prison. Oh, I almost forgot. If the Fatui find out what happened today, prison might not turn out to be the safest place for you. Trying to have friends on both sides, it has a way of turning everyone against you. But right now, I have an opportunity for you.
Huh?
Sorry, things are about to get extremely busy for me. Let's meet at Yanshang Tea House tomorrow morning. I'll have someone remove the explosives. Then, there's someone I have to go and...
Need our help with that?
No, it could be dangerous. You should leave this one to the professionals.
Ten cuidado.
Don't worry. As long as they're willing to cooperate, this'll be a straightforward deal. Get some rest. See you tomorrow.
Vale, pues parece que toca descansar. Lo que digo, me he quedado loquísimo. Hemos completado el desafío, hay que salir de las ruinas subterráneas y primero vamos a coger el cofre valioso, obviamente que siempre nos va a venir guay. Ahora sí que sí, venimos fuera, salimos del dominio y parece que esta misión todavía tiene cuerda, así que, ¿qué queréis que os diga? Hay que esperar hasta el día siguiente, vamos a esperar, creo que pone a las 8 de la mañana, así que con esto debería valer. ¿No? Vamos a ver qué pasa. De todos modos, es lo que digo, o sea, ha sido una legendaria que me ha gustado bastante. O sea, en cuanto a historia, ha estado realmente bien. Y creo que, jope, son ese tipo de misiones, ¿no? Que también te plantean, en este caso, intentar darte como alguna lección. Y eso a mí me gusta muchísimo, las que te hacen pensar, ¿no? En todo. Creo que al final suelen ser las mejores misiones que vemos en este juego. Pero bueno, como siempre, lo que digo, de momento ha sido una legendaria que me ha molado bastante. Pero ahora vamos a ver la conclusión, ¿no? Oh, Baitu. Vale.
But recovery from the damage already done will not happen overnight.
Dr. Baiju, is my father going to be...
You needn't worry too much. Keep taking the prescribed medicine every day.
2 o 3 años.
And a full recovery will take at most 2. It's good we caught it in time. A few days later, and the toxin would have built up in the internal organs. At that point, things would have been much more serious.
How did they successfully secure such a seldom-seen poison? It seems the Fatui are extremely resourceful.
La serpiente, como siempre, dando su punto de vista.
Uncle Tian will be heading off now. Remember to get plenty of rest and avoid overexerting yourself while you're...
Don't worry, I will. Thank you very much.
Vale. Hola. Me encanta. A ver cuándo sacan a Baitu como personaje.
Thank you for all you've done to resolve this situation.
¿Te sientes mejor?
Yes. The exhaustion.
Luckily, it looks like choosing the Tianshu's successor is suddenly not such a pressing issue after all.
Hey, Yelan!
My work is mostly wrapped up, so I thought I'd take a minute to check in here. The assessment process comes to an end here, Uncle Tian. In my opinion, Zhi is not suitable for the position. But Qianwei and Mingbo both have potential.
You have my gratitude. People can change their loyalties easily. I've always known this. But whenever it happens, it's still a dismal experience.
Is it just Paimon, or is Uncle Tian not that surprised?
Don't underestimate Uncle Tian. He wouldn't have appointed me as assessment officer if he hadn't had his doubts about Zhi. Normally, the Yue High Pavilion would be responsible for assessing the candidates. Isn't that right, Uncle Tian?
Yes, to be quite honest, I wanted to trust him unreservedly. But I have to be responsible with the position of Tianshu. When I first met Zhi, I wondered if he had approached me with a hidden agenda. I concluded that he had no ulterior motives whatsoever. He just saw me as an ordinary fishing friend. In the end, even he changed.
¿Qué habría ocurrido si nada de esto hubiera pasado?
I never had any plans to recommend him directly, but I always intended to give him the chance to compete on a level playing field. I had no reputation to speak of when I first became Tianshu. I relied on Ganyu's assistance for all manner of things.
I have to admit, he's a smart guy, and very cautious. The intel suggests that the Fatui saw him as very low risk, but Zhi was still extremely careful with the poisoning. He chose that specific liquor from Xinyue Kiosk because the fiery flavor would mask the bitterness of the poison, and he chose to wait until the Fatui official was drunk and had his guard down before delivering it to him. He also installed a secret compartment in the wine pot he bought to hold the poison. As the amount of liquor went down, he'd shake the pot to release the poison from the compartment into the liquor. Afterwards, we also found he had an antidote on him. Had the Fatui official grown suspicious, Zhi would have drunk the poisoned wine himself.
Vamos, que lo tenía todo planeado.
But that's still really dangerous.
Yes. Had he drunk the poisonous wine, he still would have faced serious health consequences despite...
How is Zhi now?
Well, I mean, he's sitting in a jail cell. Like Yanfei says, everyone who breaks the law has to pay the price. Still, he's cooperating. He didn't turn down my offer to strike a deal. I'll make sure there are plenty of guards around to keep him safe from anything the Fatui might be planning.
A deal? Does this have to do with what you said to him when you arrested him?
Yes, Zhi's not the one I'm interested in. If he was as far as this went, I'd have handed the case off to my subordinates as soon as I realized. But once the Fatui became involved, things got a whole lot more interesting. I thought I might have the chance to catch a big
Atrapar un
fish.
pez gordo, ¿eh? Quizás la siguiente legendaria de...
Almost. Unfortunately, it slipped off the hook at the last second.
Uncle Tien, Yelan, what are you talking about? Paimon doesn't understand.
Zhi colluded with the Fatui to try and secure the position of Tianshu. Or, to put it the other way around, the Fatui made an attempt to interfere in the Tianshu. With Yusupov in our hands, and a statement from Zhi, we could afford to continue with a diplomatic offensive. Also, we'd be able to gain control of Theophan, Yusupov's second in command. Then we'd have a pawn in the ranks of the Fatui.
Lo tiene todo planeado, poca broma.
Moves like this can be major assets. They open up all sorts of new options.
¿Ese era tu plan desde el principio?
Why else did you think I was investing so much time and effort into this case?
So, okay, well, did your plan succeed?
We got halfway. The first part went off without a hitch, but when we tried to make contact with Theophan, he was gone, along with all the evidence.
The Fatui must be spying on us. Otherwise, they'd never been able to respond so quickly.
I found out from other sources
bueno,
that
pues
the
parece que aquí están todos, ¿no? El regatero.
involved.
Ah, uno de los
The
11.
Fatui's main forces aren't concentrated here. Brigader was only treating this as a peripheral concern. It's a pity that Theophan got away. But knowing which harbingers are still looking at Liyue is something.
I have to ask, Yelan, do you have any desire to take over the position of Tianshu yourself? I remember you showed some interest a few days ago at Yenshang Tea House.
Oh, that. I was obviously joking. I prefer my current life. There's danger and there's excitement. Although it'd still be a behind-the-scenes role. As Tianshu, I wouldn't have the chance to get involved in anything truly clandestine or face any real danger. All right, I'm done here. Time for me to go. I'm heading off again in a few days and I still have to...
Where are you off to this time?
¿A dónde va?
As you might have guessed. It's
secreto.
for me to know and you, but I'm sure if you keep going as you are, getting yourselves involved in other people's business all the time, maybe I'll see you the next time danger beckons. Until then, keep your wits about you. If you have any more
Vale, pues parece que entonces
just
aquí
ask
no
Uncle
se
Tim.
va Yelan, tiene otra misión o lo que sea. Y esto básicamente yo creo que nos indica, ¿no?, que en el futuro habrá otra misión, quizás que tenga que ver con nuestra querida Yelan. La verdad que ha estado bastante guay, ha sido una misión que me ha gustado, me ha parecido divertida de principio a fin. Y ¿qué queréis que os diga? Son de estas, ¿no?, que merecen muchísima pena. Espero que os lo hayáis pasado bien con el vídeo, espero que os haya molado la legendaria de Yelan. Y si os ha molado, como siempre, por favor, dejad el buen like, suscribiros al canal para estar dentro de todas las novedades. Soy José Herrero y nos vemos en la próxima. Adiós.